यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः. May the Almighty Shri Lord Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and the entire your family and friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita, verse number 6 of 15th chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha na tad bhasayate suryaha न शशांको न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. In the first portion of 15th chapter, Bhagavan just introduced 7 kinds of understanding of samsara vriksha. We can call it samsara varnanam. Then from words number 3.5, Bhagavan began the way we can get rid of samsara. Samsara nivritti upayaha in the form of sadhanas. The means of samsara nivritti, the means to get Brahman, Brahma Prapti. In 4 methods, Bhagavan has launched the idea. The whole idea has been launched in 4 methods or in 4 disciplines. Whenever we divide the ideas of Lord Krishna into numbers. So Krishna doesn't have number in his mind. When he taught just one by one. So we are giving the categorical number in order to assimilate the content. Now these 4 disciplines which began from Vairagya and Sharanagati and Brahmavichara, Sadgunas, all of them are suitable for Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, even Brahma Sutra, even they are suitable for preliminary text. Even like we saw in the last class, Bhagavan ended with Amudhaha Avyayam Padam Gachanti. Non-deluders reach that ultimate goal, the supreme goal, or they reach to that supreme place. And what is that supreme place is explained in the verse number 6. And this verse number 6 is a unique verse which defines Brahman. Therefore we call it Brahma Lakshana Shlokam. Wherever in the Upanishads or in Bhagavad Gita or even in Brahma Sutra, the place or points which describes about Brahman, they are very important. So like that, in the 15th chapter, this shloka is very important. And this shloka is a ditto copy of a shloka, a mantra from Upanishad. That mantra is Natatra Suryo Bhati Na Chandra Tarakam Nema Vidyuto Bhanti Kutoyam Agnihi Tameva Bhantaman Bhati Sarvam Tasya Bhasa Sarvamidam Vibhati. You might have heard from the temples, when the arati is shown to the deities, at that time the pujari will chant this mantra. Every deities are given a special mantras. After chanting that particular mantra, he ends with this common mantra. Some of the places they also use this 6th mantra of 15th chapter. न तद् भासयते सूर्यः न शशांको न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. This is how it is shown, but it is the ultimate of Sanatana Dharma. It's a final, what we can call it, rocket for Sanatana Dharma. Missile. The missile means what? Which is the most important understanding in our Sanatana Dharma. There are many varieties of these kind of shlokas we can see in Upanishad. Yattad adrejam agrahim agotram avarnam achakshushrotram tadapani padam. So like this. So that which doesn't have legs, that which doesn't have eyes and all. And shrotrasya shrotram chakshusas chakshuhu manaso manam vachoha vak. So like, there are many varieties of methods and mantras are used to explain this Brahma Tattvam, the fact of Brahman, the Swarupa of Brahman, the real nature of the Brahman. Now once we understand that mantra, Upanishadic mantra, then this would be very easier to assimilate. Na tatra suryo bhati. And before beginning to explain the meaning of that mantra, we have to be clear about one thing. So coming to know about Ishvara is more beneficial than coming to know any other thing of the world. Ishvara's knowledge is more important than other knowledge of the world. So whenever there is a place, there is a chance, there is an environment to assimilate, to receive the knowledge of Ishvara, you have to be very careful. You have to be careful and focused and concentrated. You have to be dedicated to that. You have to surrender to that in order to understand it, because it's so subtle. Yat ovach o nivattante, that supreme Brahman which is far beyond our human efforts. The words, only we have to depend on the words of Upanishads, and those words of Upanishads must be given life by a person called Guru, otherwise it is not possible. Therefore, whenever there is a chance to learn about this supreme Brahman, we have to be very careful, we have to be focused, and we have to become alert, so that alertness with focus or with concentration will help to assimilate, to understand about this entity. Tatra suryo na bhati. That is the first statement. There, sun won't shine. The sunlight won't help. Why the light word is used here? Bhati means light, illumining something. Here also, na tad bhasayate suryaha. It is not enlightened by sun. What does it mean? This is a kind of unique usage, See, now you are able to see me because of what? The light. Okay. If you are seated in front of me, I will be able to see you through the light, because of the light. But if at all there is a light, if my eyes are closed, I cannot see you. Same thing is with you. You cannot see me when your eyes are tied. Doesn't matter lights are on or not. Then the eyes becomes light. Okay? And ears, when there is a sound, the sound is enlightened by the ears. So ears become also equal to a light. Like that, nose becomes the light for smell. Like, taste buds. Tasting capacity becomes a light in order to taste many tastes in the world. These indriyas are called light because they are throwing light. Through throwing light, we gain the data. They are also called light, and mind also light, because you can come to know what kind of emotions that you are undergoing now. Mind has to enlighten it. Buddhi is also a light. Even infer, anumanam is also a kind of light. You can guess something which is not in front of you. The ideas. So in normal conversation also, people ask, can you throw light on this idea? Throwing light on this idea means what? Should I bring the torch to throw on that subject matter? No, just we have to give our idea on it. Now that is also called like light. So light means what? So that which helps you to receive the knowledge, you to understand knowledge more. You will come to know the details of an object. Therefore, there's indriyas and all kinds of means. We call it pramanams. These eyes becomes a tool for knowledge, a means of knowledge. Ears are means of knowledge. In order to understand it more better way, eyes should light the object to understand it. The ears should light. Lighting means what? Hearing is understood as lightening it. Like mind has to lighten the subject matter. Subject matter is to be enlightened by our buddhi, then the decision will be easier to make. So so throwing light, all these indriyas are called light. So eyes cannot light that supreme entity. Ears cannot light the supreme entity. Both, eyes and the light of fire, light of current, light of sun, light of lightning, all these lights of stars, they don't help because they don't have capacity to illumine that object which is known as Ishvara. Why they are not able to? All of them are limited. Okay. The truth is, all these objects are enlightened by that supreme entity. How? The Ishvara who enlightened, that consciousness, supreme consciousness, which enlightens all these organs. So eyes are enlightened by the consciousness. How it is possible? Because that object is not an object, that is being in the form of very subject itself, it enlightens others. Now my eyes are enlightened by my consciousness. Therefore, I say, when I see, I say that I see. When I hear, I can say that I am hearing. When I taste, I can say I taste it. That supreme consciousness which lightens my indriyas, my mind. In other words, we can say that supreme consciousness alone throws light on my sense organs. Through the help of that light alone, I see, I taste, I smell, I touch. My God, I do everything with the help of that light. Therefore, that becomes the supreme light. Therefore, we call it supreme consciousness, supreme light. That supreme light has to be understood. Therefore, the word light helps us to understand more clearly about this entity as the subject of everything. That is the understanding which we have to arrive at with this. We'll come to the mantra again. Tatra Suryo Nabhat. The sunlight cannot light that supreme light because that supreme light is ultimate light which gives light to the sun. Okay, moon cannot light. There are famous lights, sun, moon, stars, lightning, and the fire of the world. Okay, then electricity nowadays. Electricity are received from all these 5 sources. So electricity, nothing can illumine that object. So that object is what? That is me. When I am in the sleep, sunlight won't enlighten me. Okay, it cannot penetrate my sleep. It means what? Sun failures. Moon cannot penetrate my sleep. Moon failures. The light of moon failures. Lightning, stars, or even fire, nothing can penetrate my ignorance. Okay, my sleep. If I am awake, okay, then I illumine, I confirm whether there is a sunlight or not. I confirm whether there is a moonlight exists or not. Therefore, what? That final conclusion, confirmation we get from the supreme consciousness. That's all the meaning. Tad Suryaha na bhasayati. Shashankaha means moon. Moon cannot enlighten it. Pavaka means what? fire cannot enlighten it. Yad gatva na nivartante taddhama paramam mama. So this sentence has to be understood properly. Okay, that Brahman which is in the form of light, which is in the form of subject, okay, that subject has to be reached. How can be reached? It looks like a idiotic things. No. That subject is to be identified properly. Identified properly means what? The subject is being identified as the limited body, mind and sense complex. The subject which is ultimate, which is all pervasive, which is omnipotent, omnipresent, which is also omniscient, looks like suffering being in the body. So I mistake myself as a sufferer, as a person who is limited by the karma pula, as a person who is endowed with bondage. That's what is caused by samsara. That samsara, the samsara means what? Which is due to delusion. The samsara vriksha, when it is slayed, ajnana, when it is removed by bringing the knowledge. Now we have to have clear understanding. When there is a darkness in the room, how to remove the darkness? Should we meditate for that? Meditating for 10 years to remove the darkness from the room, will it be possible? No. So I will sweep with the broomstick. Will it be possible? Or I am blowing the air. No, through that I can blow the darkness. There is only one way which is beneficial, that is but to bring a light into that room. When you bring a lamp or anything, candle, that light of a candle, light of the lamp, it vanishes the dark. That's what we have to get rid of the darkness which is in the form of a delusion, deluded state about our own self. We are vague, we are ignorant, we have not half of a knowledge, we have wrong knowledge on us. Removing the wrong knowledge by bringing the proper knowledge with the help of Shruti, that is what called Vedanta. Okay, see, yad gatva na nivartante, by understanding which we won't become samsari again. That is the proper understanding of this sentence. So when you understand yourself, you find all problems are gone. So physically you may see nothing with the person who has realized, but for him, he can experience free from all the problems. That is said, to reach ultimate means what? Through flight or car or a ship or any other means. Is it so? No. Is it just understanding properly? Just by the proper realizations, we get our own self. That is what meant by here. By adapting 4 disciplines, what we do, we remove the samsara by removing ajnana. Therefore, yad gatva means after attaining which. Means what? After understanding which. After the realization of what? After realization of the self, that self which is known as abode, means a supreme abode. That can be the supreme abode. That can be the place where you can relax. When we go to a pilgrim or when we go to other city, we will be looking for hotels. The hotels must be luxurious. That's what our expectations, so that I can sleep, I can relax well. But all hotels, it doesn't matter how luxurious they are temporary. Again you have to come back to your home in the same way. So all this body which is very luxurious than any hotel in this world. My guru used to say, this is the most luxurious hotel in our life where you can relax. Like that, mind has the tendency to seek the shelter from outside world. Therefore, we are depending on the world. we are depending on the relationship, we are depending on some power, money, name or fame to with the expectation of relaxing with that. Once attaining, after attaining that goal in which we expected to relax, we cannot have that relaxation. After attaining alone, you will come to know, my God, this is not the shelter. Then shelter will seems to be with another goal, another object. That mistake should not be committed. The travel must be ended. The travel from individual ahankara to the original self. Both are in the same place. Ahankara and Atma, both are one and the same. Mistaken Atma is called ahankara. That's all. That mistake is to be removed. That is the only one way you will get moksha. No other way. That's what Mama Paramam Dhama. Bhagavan says that is the supreme abode which is mine. So I am nothing but you. That is the message out of this verse. This is known as Brahma Lakshanam, the definition of Brahman. Otherwise we can call the definition of the self, supreme self. So now we have to be clear. So adapting these 4 disciplines or 4 methods in the spiritual progress, we slay the samsara vriksha by attaining the knowledge of our own self, the self which is none other than the supreme self. Then we go to the next verse. Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhauta sanatanaha manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Now, after introducing the detail of the self, Bhagavan is introducing again the equation between the supreme self and the individual self. When he defines the Lakshanam of Brahman, that which is the supreme one, and finally he said that is my place. That is my place means what? That is me. That supreme Brahman is me. So when Bhagavan said, so that is his Swarupa, then what about my Swarupa? That's what Bhagavan himself, he continues in this verse. Mama sanatanaha amsaha eva jivaloke jivabhutaha prakritisthani manashasthani indriyani karushati. Karushati means he plows or he pulls. So my amsha means my consciousness alone, being in the form of individual consciousness in every sharira, it enlightens, it makes all other organs to function. So that is the equation. That's what we needed. That equation begins from this verse. That verb karushati is a very important word. So Brahman alone becomes a base or substratum of all function. This is like, all movies are thrown on the screen. Now movies, it is running scene by scene in the screen. Now screen becomes substratum, but screen is not visible. Only scenes of the movies are visible. People are sticking with the movie, but Brahmajnani means the person who knows the fact, he knows the screen is the base, screen is the foundation which allows, which gives the shelter for all the sins which are taking there. With this knowledge, when you pursue a movie, you won't be affected at all because you know the original. So all other things are fake. That is what the proper understanding that we can get through this verse. Now, so why Bhagavan talks about the supreme consciousness? Without talking about supreme consciousness, no spiritual progress can be achieved. That to Bhagavan Krishna, he himself is Bhagavan Sarveshwaraha. He has the capacity to make us understand, to make us realized one. With the blessings of Lord Krishna and with the anugraha of Lord Venkateshwara, who is none other than Lord Krishna, we will definitely assimilate this knowledge which is given in this chapter in the form of Purushottama. That we will continue from the next session tomorrow. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namo Namaha. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.